Hello, thank you for joining today's executive webinar session on how to empower managers to comply with ISO 9001 seamlessly and introductions to Qdms software. My name is Kevin Deveci. I'm the Managing Director of Bimser International. Today with me, I have my colleagues. I have Alex Kvarcherov from MRAS Consulting. Alex is a lead certified ISO auditor. Also with us today, we have Sam Watt. Sam is pre-sales software engineer at Bimser International. Today we'll talk about the importance of empowering managers and how to comply ISO 9001 digitally. So we'll cover fundamentals and we'll cover the digital compliance requirements of ISO 9001. So as a start, I'd like to invite my colleague, Alex Kvarcherov, to our virtual stage. And let's hear from Alex is to fundamentals of empowering managers to comply with ISO 9001. Alex, if you're ready, I'll make you the presenter so you can share your screen.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, perfect. I think you can share your screen right now.
No, not quite ready.
Okay, Alex, now we can see your screen. So floor is yours. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Kevin, for inviting me to contribute to this webinar. And thank you, everybody, for joining. Today, we're going to discuss a very interesting subject matter is the role of management in ISO. And specifically, we'll try to answer the issue of how to empower managers to comply with ISO. So that's going to be my discussion today. So before I start, I just want to have a very brief introduction about MRAS Consulting. I'm the principal, and I'm certified to ISO 9001 lead auditor. And I've established MRAS Consulting in 2015 after a lengthy career as a project manager in a large aerospace company, which is certified to the AS91 quality standard. And the AS91 standard is the aerospace standard. So currently I provide consulting services for various businesses that are either trying to achieve or actually trying to maintain ISO certification. And back in 2018, I became a Bimser Solutions partner to support the marketing of the Qdms tool, which I found to be an excellent software tool to help to deal any business with the application of ISO. And ISO obviously generates a lot of paperwork, a lot of documents, and certainly this tool greatly simplifies this task. And I also present a number of webinars and lectures on various ISO topics. Well, before I start going into the details of my presentation, I just want to very briefly go over the key element of the quality management system, which is really the heart of ISO, of any ISO. And this diagram, it's called the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle, which was developed by Deming, who was a quality guru. It really pictorially shows what is going on in a quality management system. And as you can see, it's a circle, right? It's a continuous improvement starting from the planning phase, going through the operation. Then obviously there's evaluation of your product or service. And then based on making certain decision based on data, you go through an improvement cycle, and then you go back through planning. So you just stay in this continuous loop, always trying to improve yourself. Now, what I want to point out, in the center of this circle is leadership. And obviously, as you can see, there are arrows pointing to all of the elements of this cycle. So leadership is really the center of the activity of the QMS activity. And as you notice, there's a 5 underneath the leadership, and that refers to the clause, to the ISO clause. So the leadership responsibilities are described in clause 5 of the ISO standard. So let's go into more detail into what really ISO requires management to do. And it's contained in 3 subparagraphs of clause 5. 5.1 is leadership and commitment. So obviously, management has to demonstrate that they're committed to the development and application of the quality management system, and always look to continue to improve its effectiveness. And also, it has the responsibility to inform the entire organization about the importance of making sure that the customer requirements are met. And also, and they're very important nowadays, that all of the legal and other requirements are satisfied. And also, the quality management system has to be continuously reviewed by conducting management reviews and making improvements and changes as required. So that's paragraph 5.1. Now 5.2, entitled policy, describes the direction of the organization and its commitment to quality and customer satisfaction. So that, of course, the policy is defined by each organization, but it has to keep in mind the customer satisfaction and how that could be met. And also, it has to establish the framework for quality objectives. And finally, paragraph 5.3 deals with organizational roles, responsibilities, and authorities. And basically, this deals that in any organization, the roles and responsibilities have to be clearly defined and established. And obviously, that is the responsibility of management. And also, the communication of down through the workforce has to be clearly defined, especially when you're dealing with a seasonal workforce, with temporary employees. They have to clearly understand what their responsibility and what is expected of them also. So this is really what ISO requires of management. So now let's look at some more details. And this really addresses, the slide addresses what should management do to conform to ISO requirements. And on the left is kind of a cartoon showing the 5 principal functions of management, and that's irrelevant of ISO. This is obviously any organization has management to be responsible for 5 specific functions, namely planning, organizing, staffing, coordinating, and controlling. So this is done regardless of ISO. Now, ISO specifically has certain requirements, and it really provides management certain techniques of what to do to control and manage the organization. And there are specific areas which management has to be involved in, and obviously it's continuous improvement. That's a very basic element of ISO. So you have to always using company data that you've collected, make decisions on which areas needs improvement. Quality policy and its objective has to be clearly defined, and also it's not just a piece of paper that is not visible to the workers that the quality policy has to be really float down to all the levels of the organizations. Now, management has to conduct regular meetings to find out what is going on with the quality management system, what is happening, what are some of the issues that need to be addressed. So management has to continuously be on top of what's going on with the quality management system and take action, okay? Identify what the discrepancies are and then work out a plan to resolve those issues. Obviously, customer satisfaction is very important, and surveys have to be regularly conducted to find out both positive and negative feedback from the customer. So positive feedback is very important for future business, but negative feedback is also very important so you can correct any issues so that the customer then sees that action has been taken to improve your performance. And also the resources that are needed for the future work is, again, a very key responsibility of management. So how do you empower management to comply with ISO? Okay, and that is obviously something that needs to get addressed because, of course, management is driving what's required within the organization. So obviously, if management or whoever decided to pursue ISO certification, then obviously it has to be followed through. So usually there's really two possible reasons why a company has decided to apply for certification. One is that the management made the decision because they want to improve the company image. And whether it's because of sales or because of whatever reason they feel that ISO would be important to improve the status of the organization. So that's something that management decided on its own. However, another reason could be because it was mandated by an owner or parent organization or even the customer, because the customer may require your organization to be ISO certified. So again, now it's coming from outside the organization, which is really a little now harder because management is kind of forced now to go into this ISO certification process, and possibly even maybe against their really desire and wishes. So that's something that has to be dealt with. How do you overcome that? Well, one way is obviously training. And certainly whether it was management initiated or externally required, there has to be some training specifically directed at management to teach them what is required for ISO compliance. And obviously there's a number of things. So there are special training courses available for that. Also, training has to be done for the entire staff because the ISO requirements and the ISO really has to be propagated down through the entire organization. But without management support, that's not going to happen. So you need management that's going to be enforcing it and then making sure that it's flowed down through the entire organization. Another, let's say, boost to ISO is to show how the ISO implementation improved the results and showing the successes of the ISO implementation. Now, obviously, if management believes in ISO and they have seen positive results, which most of them do if it's properly implemented, then that enthusiasm really propagates through the entire organization. And it's sort of a, it's like a chain reaction. It's everybody gets enthusiastic, and therefore the whole efficiency of the operation improves, and the quality improves, and everybody, customers, everybody is satisfied. Now, also audits, and if you're either going for certification or are already certified, then both internal audits and audits with certification bodies, or what is known as registrars, are required. So to get certified, you need to go through a certification audit. And once you're certified, every year you have to go through a surveillance audit with a registrar. And during those audits, definitely management will be interviewed, and it will be really tested if they are knowledgeable and they're actually implementing the requirements of ISO. So what I'm saying is that the auditors will hold management feet to the fire and make sure that it happens. And also during internal reviews, there will be some discrepancies that are identified, and management really needs to act on it, and making sure that whatever discrepancies are uncovered, that they get resolved. So again, as you can see, there's a lot of data involved, a lot of tasks involved with ISO, and I think it's very important that a software tool is used, and certainly a software tool like Qdms that I mentioned before is a tremendous asset to the organization, because not only does it help management to keep track of the QMS and what is happening, but obviously all of the workers should be, in dealing with the quality management system, should be dealing with the Qdms tool, which, as I said, has tremendous provides tremendous assistance to managing ISO and helps everybody. So I think on that note, I will pass it back to Kevin, and then we'll have a demo of how this Qdms tool can help your organization. So thank you very much for your attention.
Alex, thank you very much for your informative presentation and sharing for your insights. Let me take over the screen and we can continue our executive webinar session. So based on what Alex mentioned, we'd like to also introduce you Qdms, our quality, risk, audit, performance, and compliance management software. So Qdms is the proprietary software system of Bimser International, and we have been developing it since 1998. It's a very mature system. We have more than 1,000 customers, more than 1 million users using Qdms on a daily basis for ISO 9001 compliance. Today, we'd like to focus on various modules of Qdms. We'd like to talk about training module, we'd like to talk about action management module, and we'd like to talk about management review module, also reports as well. There are more than 20 modules available of Qdms. These are some of them that we like to talk about, just to introduce you Qdms on a high level. Having said that, I'd like to invite my colleague Sam Watt to our virtual stage. Sam is our senior pre-sales software engineer at Bimser International, and he'll show you how Qdms looks, how it feels, and he'll also talk about these modules listed on my slide. Sam, if you are ready, please take over the screen. Okay, looks good. Thank you.
Great. And thank you for joining today's webinar. And this is Sam, the Senior Pre-Sales Software Engineer of Bimser International based in New York. In the following, I will demonstrate you Qdms, our quality, risk, audit, and compliance management system. And you will see how QDMS helps you empower the management of your company and also helps you comply with ISO standard seamlessly. QDMS is a web-based system. So after deploying the system on your cloud or on-premise server, you can connect to your own QDMS by using your web browser. So you can connect to your own system by using Google Chrome, Firefox, or any web browser that you name it. Furthermore, QDMS is a permission-based system, so not everyone can see everything. You will see what you're supposed to do based on the permissions that are granted to your account. Different users have different permission based on their role, position, profession, department, and group. I am now logging in as the admin so that I have the full control of the system. And this is the homepage after you log into the system that you can find all the pending tasks and also the request for approval on this homepage. You can get a quick connection by opening the widget that shows on this homepage and start managing this particular request. On the top left, this is the main menu of QDMS. QDMS provides over 30 modules, and thanks to the modular structure of the system, you can pick and choose the modules that you want to have and deploy on your server. Meaning based upon the challenges that you are encountering in the scope of ISO standard compliance, then you can pick and choose the modules that best fit in for your organization. And today we will get into the training management module, Azure management module, and also the management review module, and see how we can enjoy the benefits by using QDMS. First of all, let's get into the training management module. By using this module, we can schedule different training plans in order to make sure our employees have the knowledge and also the skill set for our daily operation. That is important to schedule training to our employees or to our crews. And right here, we can schedule different training plans. For example, like the PPE training. And the training plan that we mentioned in QDMS is like the goal that we want to achieve. So when we are talking about taking this as an example, PPE training, so we might cover different subjects in this training so that we have the training plan as PPE training, and then we can create different training items under this planning. And the training item will be the topic that we are going to cover in this training. So let's say we have the PPE training of how to dispose of the PPE, how to maintain the PPE, and how to use the PPE, for example. So we can set up different subjects or topics under the training plan as an item. And while we are scheduling the training item, we can absolutely define the subject that we are going to cover and also define the start date and time of this particular training. If there is any project that we have to also record it in our training item, we can also record it in QDMS, and QDMS supports multi-currency so that you can also record all the courses that you spent on your training in different currency. And those are also reportable, meaning we can always run our report and keep tracking the courses that we have spent out. Other than that, we can also invite the trainer to this particular training, meaning this trainer or these trainers will be the responsible person for performing this training to the trainee. And the additional info files like attachment, you are more than welcome to connect along with this training item. So those can be uploaded in different formats like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, and so on as an attachment of this training item. So we can put together your documents and upload it from your local drive. And once it is ready, then we can send this out And the trainer that we have defined in the very beginning will receive a notification of this training schedule. After that, the trainer can invite, or as an admin, we can also invite the participant to this training item. Meaning, we can invite the trainee, like who should be involved in this training, meaning who should join this training. So we can pick and choose the users as a trainee from the user list of Qdms, and we can pick and choose them into the participant list. And once we save it, and then all the trainee will receive a notification in their own Qdms account and also in their email inbox. This is a two-way notification feature of Qdms as well, in order to make sure you will not miss any important task or any important assignment that we schedule by using the system. And once the training has been performed, and then we can update the attendance of the training as well. So saying this is the training, and then we can choose like performed the training. After that, we can update the records like who attend this training, so that we can always keep tracking the progress of the training of the employees. So we can make sure everyone attend all the required training in order to make sure they joined the training and they got the idea and also the skill set or knowledge that we are trying to share in the training. In every single module of Qdms, there is a reporting tool that allows us to generate different different reports. For example, the attendance report, so that we can always run our report. And before we are trying to run our report, you are more than welcome to set up certain criteria or standards or conditions of the report or for the results that you want to see, like the start date and also the end date. Furthermore, we have a graphical report that allows you to create your own reports and put them to be shown into a calendar view, so that you can always keep tracking what kind of training that we have scheduled in our company. In the action management module, we can schedule different actions and assign them to different action performer, so that we can always keep tracking those actions or operations that we performed in our organization. For example, like facility cleaning, and that is the action plan, similar to the training plan. When we are talking about the plan in Qdms, it's like the goal that we want to achieve. So right here, we are scheduling an action as for facility training. And under this planning, we might have different actions that we should perform in order to achieve this goal as for the planning. Then we can create different sub-actions recorded in our system, and those can be different phases or steps for achieving the goal. And in this example, that will be the facility cleaning. And then we can create different sub-actions, as you can see on this page, as a list. So for the first step, that we have the facility control, and then we can define the start date and end date, including also the time. And you can find the ratio of this particular action, that is the particular percentage, like the ratio of this particular action under this action planning. Furthermore, we can also find the status of this action if it is open or it has been performed and closed. So we can create different action items or sub-actions under our planning. And while we are creating a new action or sub-action, you will see this page as for defining like the definition, like the sub-action, what it is about, and also record the budget if there is any, and also get the ratio for this particular sub-action. Moreover, we can also add the users into the informed group, meaning they are not the action performer, but they will be informed about this action once it is scheduled or updated in the status. And any additional information that you could like to attach, you're more than welcome to attach it here, and you can upload your documents from your local drive in different file formats. And coming back to this page, we have the action performer, meaning we can assign this action to a responsible person, and this person will be the one who updates the status of these actions or assignments that we schedule in Qdms. So now we schedule or we assigned it an action to this action performer, which is myself, Bimser Int, and saying now I performed my my task. So what next is we can come to the system and then update the system that now we performed this particular action. And then we can, first of all, is we can find this action or assignment on our homepage, which on our homepage you can find the action that is assigned it to my account. And we have the actions under my responsibility. And then we can come into this particular action and update the system accordingly. So these are all the actions, and then we can open this up and say, now I performed this action, like this is floor rinsing. And then I can update the system as performed. And then the system will ask you to, first of all, the system will record the date and also the time that you finish this action. And also, you have to update the system and tell the system what you have done as a record, so that we can always keep tracking what the employees or the action performers performed it or what they have completed. Again, we can, there is a reporting tool in the action management module, so that we can always run our report, like action detail report or action graphical report, or even for the or for our approval flow, when we got, when the actions got approved or rejected, or the log report. So those are available in Qdms as a ready-made report. You can always run them and export your report that you generate in Qdms into Excel or PDF files for sharing with any responsible parties or for your own documentation. At last, we come to the management review module. In this module, it is a tool that allows you to generate different reports and keep tracking the performance of the employees. As for all the assignments, for example, and also the tasks that you have generated in Qdms, you can find all of those as like which one is delayed, meaning past the due date and hasn't been completed yet, and also for those that you have completed on time or that is pending. So those can be found in this management review. And here is an example under the management review as the delayed activities, meaning those past its due date and hasn't been completed yet. So we can find all of those tasks and also find the performance name, and also the time is past its due date, and also the expiration date. So right here, that is one of the examples in my demo environment, which has already passed the due date for more than 800 days. So those can be always defined in this particular management review module, and you are more than welcome to export this report for your own documentation or for tracking the performance of the employees. Same thing for the planned activities. So we can find all those all those assignments that we have scheduled and which are still pending in this particular list, so that we can always again monitor and keep tracking the performance and also the KPIs of the company. It comes to the end of my demonstration of QDMS on a high level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam, for the demonstration. Let me take over the screen and we can continue our session. As my colleague Sam demonstrated QDMS, it can help you plan training activities, perform training, assign team members, as well as it helps you monitor performance of your team members and managers digitally, no matter where you are. System is web-based, so you can access from anywhere. Nowadays, many people working remotely or in hybrid work environments, so QDMS is designed to help you work remotely as well. Before we end our session, Alex, do you have any final remarks?
Yes, certainly. I would like to just, as a conclusion, say how important the QDMS tool is, especially for management, since today's topic was how do we empower management to carry out all of the ISO requirements. And if you really, the way I look at it as the QDMS tool gives you like a window into the quality management system. So not only is it important for management to know what's going on in the QMS, and how many times, if you've managed a group of people, have you asked to provide information and you have to remind them to give you information, and that really is a waste of time. Using the tool, if obviously the tool is properly maintained, you have 24/7 window open into the QMS, and especially this is important in light of the remote workforce, because you may be working at home and you still need to have access into the QMS system. So that's why I think QDMS is such an important tool. And again, you don't have to be ISO certified to use QDMS. You can certainly use QDMS if you are not certified or not even planning to be certified, but certainly to manage your quality management system. So that's really is my takeaway for the using the QDMS tool.
Alex, thank you very much for the final remarks and sharing your expertise and your insights. And to our attendees, thank you very much for your time and for your interest. And we are looking forward to having you at our coming executive webinar sessions. Thank you very much and have a nice day.